Michael is one of the most complex and fascinating characters in cinema, symbolizing the internal struggle between morality and power. The pivotal moment of his transformation occurs during the iconic baptism by fire scene, in which, in the midst of a sacred ritual, he takes vows of faith while orchestrating a massacre against his enemies. This contrast between the serenity of the ceremony and the brutality of the killings reveals the depth of his inner conflict. Michael not only accepts his new identity as Don, but also sacrifices the most human part of himself, showing how the desire for power can dehumanize. The baptism by fire scene takes place in a context of growing tension. As Michael Corleone finally assumes control of the family empire. After years of conflict and betrayal, the need to consolidate his power becomes urgent. Enemies are on the move, and the security of the Corleone dynasty is at stake. Barzini was playing a cold and silent game of chess. Every move was designed to isolate, weaken, and take control from the Corleones without openly declaring war. While the war between the families erupted after the attempted assassination of Vito, Barzini used his influence to sever the Corleone family's alliances. He bribed judges, politicians, and police officers who had once been under Corleone control. He shut down transportation routes and commercial points belonging to the family. He pressured suppliers and allies to turn against the Corleones, offering protection or threats. After Sonny's death, Vito realized that war would only destroy his family. He agreed to a peace treaty with the other Dons, but by then, Barzini had already won. He even managed to make Vito yield without ever revealing that he, Barzini, had been the true mastermind all along. Barzini made his final move by plotting Michael's death. He convinced Tessio, one of the most respected Corleone capos, to betray him. He arranged a meeting between Michael and Barzini, in which Michael was to be killed, while his enemies believed he was at peace, focused on his family. Michael was preparing his revenge with military precision. The baptism of Connie's child, his sister, who had just lost Sonny, and suffered at the hands of Carlo, would be the perfect cover. Michael accepted the role of the child's godfather. And that title carries a double meaning. The sequence unfolds in parallel with the baptism of Connie's son, where Michael becomes the child's godfather, taking on the commitment to guide him in spiritual life. At the same time, as he recites the baptismal vows, he also becomes the godfather in the mafia sense of the word. The power of this scene lies in the juxtaposition of these two meanings. Michael is officially named a child's godfather, while also consecrating himself as the new mafia godfather, solidifying his power. In Mario Puzo's novel, there's a profound reflection: life is too harsh, which is why people need two fathers. It is in this context that the figure of the godfather emerges. Don Vito acts as a second father to many people, offering solutions to problems that society or the legal system cannot solve. However, nothing is done for free. In exchange for these favors, he demands loyalty and future commitments, thereby strengthening his power and influence. Now, Michael takes on that same role and becomes the new godfather. During the church ceremony, the priest asks him, "Do you renounce Satan and all his works?" By answering yes, Michael swears to reject evil and its temptations. But at the same time, he is orchestrating a series of brutal murders that will guarantee him control over the criminal world. His expressions during the scene are intense and revealing, conveying deep focus and an unsettling coldness. He appears completely absorbed in his thoughts and objectives. His fixed and distant gaze indicates not only determination, but also emotional detachment. He is so focused on eliminating the family's rivals that he ignores the solemnity of the baptism. In a deleted scene between him and Vito, his inner motivation is revealed. Vito says he cannot seek revenge because he made a vow. Vito was always a man of principles, even within the criminal underworld. His word was law, and he knew that, in that world, breaking a promise was more dangerous than pulling a trigger. When he made peace with the rival Dons, he vowed not to seek revenge for Sonny's death, so long as Michael returned safely from Sicily. That promise secured the temporary survival of the Corleone family, and Vito kept it with honor, even if it meant swallowing insults. But Michael replies that he has made no such vow, signaling his firm decision to avenge the wrongs done to his family. That determination is born from the pain of Sonny's death, the attempt on his father's life, and the loss of Apollonia. Although he tried to stay away from crime, the wounds of the past remain, leading him to a point of no return. That motivation culminates in the baptism by fire scene, where he executes his revenge, but at the cost of his humanity. As the scene progresses and Michael's plan is set in motion, the music drastically changes tone. When his men begin eliminating the rival bosses, the soundtrack becomes more intense, dramatic, and dark, emphasizing the contrast between the sanctity of the baptism and the violence of the executions. In this way, Michael fully embraces the vendetta, transforming into a ruthless enforcer in service of his family, demonstrating how violence has become an inseparable part of his existence. But even after settling scores with his enemies, one final matter remains unresolved. Carlo, an accomplice in Sonny's death, represents an unforgivable betrayal. His punishment is not merely an act of revenge, but also a way to reaffirm loyalty to the family and honor Santino's memory. Michael sees in his decision to eliminate his sister's husband a way to restore the family's honor and deliver justice for those who were lost. A final act that seals his ultimate transformation into the new Godfather. By choosing Clemenza to carry out this task, Michael not only pays tribute to Sonny's legacy, but also reinforces the importance of loyalty and tradition within the mafia. Clemenza, as one of the most respected capos, represents the continuity of the values Sonny once defended. For Clemenza, eliminating Carlo was not just fulfilling a duty. It was avenging Sonny, it was restoring the family's honor, and it was eliminating the traitor who had wounded the Corleones from within. He feels a satisfaction, not from the act of death, but from the sense of justice served. So, Michael walks stiffly, without hesitation. It's the stride of someone carrying something heavy, the weight of power, isolation, and moral compromise. He doesn't hesitate, because in his world, hesitation is fatal. But each step is tense, deliberate, as if the ground itself reflects the cost of his choices. Michael's transformation into the Godfather evokes a deep sense of awe and fascination. The audience is drawn to his intelligence, charisma, and leadership, but at the same time, intrigued by the darkness surrounding his actions. This duality creates an ambivalence that makes viewers question their own reactions to Michael's choices, making him one of the most complex characters in the history of cinema. If you enjoyed exploring the complexity of Michael Corleone and the dual meaning behind the concept of Godfather, don't forget to leave a like and share this video with friends who also appreciate in-depth film analysis. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this, where we dive deep into intense and thought-provoking themes from the cinematic universe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.